I'm just going to read it because I don't want to mess up and I don't want to get distracted.
I like how he's bolded it too.
Yes. Welcome to the Conspiracy Cast right here on Tales of Earth, a show where I also haven't done this in like 3 weeks.
already messed it up.
A show where we discuss a conspiracy, mystery, or abnormality of some kind. We discuss why we do or don't believe it. My own wording is strange. We do this live on twitch.tv/comicstorian every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. If you want, you can support us by subscribing to this channel. You can also hit that bell icon. You can find some Tales of Earth merch through the link below. You can also go to patreon.com/comicstorian, where you can get early access to this show as well as other goodies. Why did I write goodies? Did I really write goodies?
He wrote goodies.
No. Today we have with us
some goodies.
Glorp Andy. Never do that again.
Don't do that.
Never do that again, unless I pay you to.
Fair.
Today we have Glorp Andy.
Glorp, everybody.
And Glorp Dan.
Glorp.
Yeah. You can find them through their various social media links also below.
Yes.
You know what else is below? Subliminal messaging.
I honestly,
inappropriate jokes.
I knew it was either going into something else we're promoting or going into the topic.
I would never be inappropriate.
So,
That is true.
no,
Gary is.
My wife would disagree.
he won't be inappropriate. He'll be in a. Nope, never mind. I was going to try and incorporate glorp into it.
Yeah. I'm
In a
more like
glorpiate?
Yeah,
out appropriate.
So, subliminal messaging.
Subliminal messaging. So we can recall things like MK Ultra, which we've talked about on the show before. The CIA's attempt at brainwashing and mind control over the populace. There's the popular Stargate program, or like remote viewing. And then there's the theory over chemtrails and fluoride in water, all different methods of mind control.
Okay.
Now, there is a topic we've never actually discussed or even brought up on Conspiracy Cast.
Okay.
And it's funny because I was watching an episode of MASH and I suddenly got this idea. No, I'm kidding. Why? I don't watch MASH.
What an odd, not
Yes,
even
I don't
in
know.
syndication anymore reference.
Netflix.
Is it on Netflix?
Yes,
I didn't know.
It is on
Okay.
Netflix. So subliminal messaging. What comes to your guys' mind when it comes to subliminal messaging, Bycook?
That I need to buy Coke.
Oh, really? What gave you that idea?
I mean, so subliminal messaging to me is always like that quick flash into something, or they're talking about something that makes you want to.
Okay.
Right.
So it's like that idea of just like quick like images that just kind of pop up.
But not even that. Just
that you
like
can
if
barely
I,
catch.
for instance, we were all just joking about Skittles.
Yeah.
Somebody watching this could be like, I could really go for some Skittles right now.
Yeah.
Technically, that would
pretty
be
common.
a form
Yeah.
of subliminal messaging.
They're actually linking like childhood obesity and like extra snacking to the commercial breaks.
I can see
during
that,
during the like TV programming, because a lot of the commercials are food related. It's like goldfish,
Right.
it's things like that. So kids actually will snack more when they're watching television. I think adults too. We tend to, you sit down for a movie or a TV show, you're like, man, I could really
generally
go for
have
a snack.
you
I
go
could
to a
for
movie
some ice
theater, you're going to
cream.
get some form
Yes.
of a snack. Yeah.
Exactly.
I can see that.
What about you? What comes to your mind with?
I always
subliminal
think of
messaging?
like the things like obviously I know what subliminal messaging is, but my head goes to things like the Futurama episode where they're getting advertised in their dreams. Or there's a book that's sold that's like a how to sell things using subliminal advertising, but the way that the cover is, like half of it's invisible based on when you're where you're like angling it.
Yep.
And it's a subliminal thing on
Yeah.
the cover. And
There's
that's where
something
my
similar
head
to that
goes.
back in the 80s. I think they called it super paper. Basically, they were selling this paper as $1 a sheet. And what the company claimed was that there was a subliminal message on the paper that said things like pay or buy or things like that. So that when you gave somebody like a bill that was printed on that paper, they were just being told subliminally to pay the bill or whatever.
I mean, to be fair, if I gave someone a bill, it would be not just subliminal to pay the bill.
Yeah, I mean,
it'd be
that's kind of the
written
idea
down
behind the bill.
liminal.
Yeah.
But it's that idea that somebody can easily look at a bill and say, yeah, I'm not going to pay that. But if the subliminal messaging is there, they're more encouraged.
Right.
Interesting,
to
yeah.
like,
I
oh,
should
feel like I
pay
should
this
pay this
bill.
Yeah.
But there were some tests run on the paper and nobody could find anything. I think it was a total scam.
Oh, yeah.
It was just normal paper.
It probably so that's to me that would be a form of subliminal message, which is like, yeah, if you buy this, it'll make people buy it.
Yeah.
or pay
Right.
it or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, then we have to spend all our money on this paper.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, suckers. I bought this paper at Walgreens.
Bunch of losers.
Yeah. How many sheets were in that ream? 100. Just made $100.
They're actually like the subliminal messages is they've just taken old pieces of paper and erased everything that was on it. And that's the invisible message is what they had erased.
There you go.
It's like a shopping list.
Yeah, what the hell? I need milk?
We do need milk, actually.
Wait a second.
Who's Frank? Frank, don't forget to clear the sprinkler heads. What is this?
You're going
I'm gonna go home and
you know, I do need to do something. My sprinkler is done.
Oh man.
Anyway.
All right, so have you ever witnessed an attempt at subliminal messaging
Yes.
besides Futurama, which actually is in one of our lists today?
Good.
Yay, Dan!
The only time it's not a serious one is there was a Kevin Nealon stand-up act where he starts talking about subliminal messaging. So he's saying one thing and then just like throws in really quickly different things.
Okay,
Into
like words.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's it was an actual
That's
subliminal
funny,
message,
Right.
but
Yeah, the only real use that I could think of would be that book cover. Because like the purpose of it was to imply that that's what it's for. And
yeah.
So, I'm gonna kind of give us a little Easter egg here that we're for something that's going to be at the end of the episode. But
And
we're
it's
not
not
gonna
even
touch
Easter.
Can you kid?
We're not even going to touch it until the end of the episode, but I want you to stay tuned because I have something really creepy to show you guys.
Oh.
And you, audience.
Oh.
What could be the greatest form of subliminal messaging? The brainwashing of the masses to worship the state/government. Would you agree? If you're going to,
if someone was
going
gonna-
to subliminally influence a populace,
Oh no, that would not be what people would use it for. Are
do you
you
think they'd
kidding?
use it for?
They would use it for advertising.
Which they do.
It would be
Which they do.
100% to.
but do you think the government would be above that, or do you think they would?
No,
do it as
no,
well?
I
No,
feel
I
like they
think
would
the
do it.
government. I don't think it would go through like that direct, but I think the government. It would be a subliminally buy this thing that then that poisons you and mind controls you,
Yes.
but not the subliminal messaging itself.
You know what I find funny? We never think of subliminal messaging as something good, like exercise.
Yeah.
Eat less sugar.
Yes, love your friends.
Love your friends. Yeah, whatever.
That is true.
Like, give gifts.
Generally speaking,
You know.
anytime you hear the terms like subliminal messaging or propaganda or anything like
Yes,
that,
brainwashing,
it's always in a negative
Nefarious.
connotation. Yeah.
Yeah. Every time. That's
Every
interesting.
time. Yep.
Okay, I'm going to create a movement, a positive brainwashing movement. Now, it's already starting to sound like a cult.
It does a little bit.
yes,
yeah,
a little
that's
bit.
the
Yeah, yeah,
problem.
that is the
but we're
problem.
taking it back. We're taking back
yes.
the term brainwashing.
And the word cult,
And the word cult.
which was twisted in the 1940s, I believe.
It's okay, guys. We're taking it back.
Skittles.
Yeah, we're taking it back. Yeah.
What's that?
What'd you say?
No.
Nothing.
You're subliminally messaging people?
No, of course not.
Yeah. I
Drink
suddenly
more
feel the
Ovaltine.
need to do a bunch of push-ups. All right. So you'd think attempts like this to get the populace or the public of your country or state or whatever, that attempts like that would be limited to places like North Korea or Nazi Germany or North Korea.
I would definitely say that.
Sorry, keep going.
No. What? Yeah.
I was gonna say it's funny because we say those countries, but our head goes no because we
Couldn't
know.
be us.
But that's the thing is it's because there it's an obvious.
It's
you
less
knew it was
subliminal
happening.
Well, we can
and
finger
so
more
it
point at
makes
them.
it exactly.
Yeah,
It's one
we
of
can
those.
finger point
For
at
all
them.
we know, we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're just better at it.
I'm actually going to prove by the end of the episode that our government has attempted to brainwash us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you would be wrong, obviously, because I'm setting it up that way. Even the United States
You fools.
has attempted this.
You're an idiot.
Every government wants their people to have the "my country is the best" patriotic stance.
Yep.
That
Why
is
wouldn't
true.
you? It's like every company wants their employees to think that their company
Yes,
is the best.
this is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody wants the people of their country to go, wow, this place is a shithole.
Yeah.
My God.
Right. I mean,
What,
it's like
actually, that would be the reverse psychology subliminal messaging.
Interesting.
Trying
Yes.
to convince your countrymen that they're in a crap hole of a country.
Right.
But this reverse psychology, they're like, no, this is the best
this is
country in the
best.
world.
Stop trying to convince me. Yeah, it's reverse psychology.
It's
Yeah.
genius.
So when things do actually get truly awful, our government's going to tell us that it's awful.
Exactly.
They're going to say, no, let's make it better. They're like, yes.
They're like, only nerds think it's awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is gonna be great.
I'm not a nerd.
This is great.
It's like how I really appreciate how every time I walk into work here, Benny makes me stare at this like spinning disc.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of doze off a little bit. It's a nice nap. Yeah.
That's part of the HR
and then he's back
program.
home and it's like, what the?
Yeah, what
Part of the HR program.
Yeah. What? So where was I?
I don't know.
Every government, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so no country has ever been that amazing. Truly. I mean, there are people who think the United States is just the greatest thing to ever visit the planet Earth. And I hate to break it to you, while this country, I believe, yes, is incredible, it's not the greatest thing to ever grace this planet. No country is.
No.
Like, and no government.
No
country.
Absolutely
Nothing.
Let's see here. I found the most bizarre subliminal messaging for the U.S., and it's from 1960.
Okay.
But we'll watch that later. More on that later. That's going to cap off the episode. Something that a type of subliminal messaging that we see all the time is something called illusory truth effect. You have to hear something only 7 times before you start believing it's true, even if you know it's not. If you hear something enough, you will actually start to convince yourself that it's
is
true.
Actually, I can 100% agree with that because to put that in another...
I know, I've told you 7 times already.
Well, to put it in another light that a lot of people would very much relate to, it's like when you're spelling something or you're saying a word multiple times, and after a certain number of times you've either spelt it or said it, it starts sounding weird.
Sure.
Or it starts looking like you're spelling it wrong.
Fork. Say it enough and it just
exactly
doesn't sound like a word anymore.
It's a similar, it's not the exact same as this, but it's very similar in the sense of if you repeat something enough times, stuff starts going, wait a second, is this right?
Yeah.
And whether or not it's that you believe in something or don't believe in it, or
so much of our language is instinctive. You know, it's I think they call it the autonomic centers of the brain, where things just kind of operate naturally. You don't have to think about it. And so when you are starting to really analyze and break down things like the English language or your native language, you do start to see how strange it can be because you're now more conscious, more aware of these things that you're saying. You're like, wait, this is just noises. Yeah. And ultimately they are. They're just noises that we associate meaning to, which I would love to see or hear, like how a baby hears our languages, because they hear it raw. Like they don't hear it with any preconceived
knowledge
ideas
about what it is.
They don't have a native language. Like it is raw language to them, and I would love to like consciously experience that.
Right. Would be interesting.
Yeah, it would. So what kinds of things do we hear in terms of this illusory truth effect? What kinds of things do we hear every day? My first thing that came to my mind is land of the free. Almost every day. Turn on the news, go to a ball game.
What do I hear?
About our country every day?
Yeah, just in general. I'm loving it.
Well, I do know that Frank Azar is the strong arm.
Yep.
It's true.
So I hear that most days on the radio on the way to work.
He has destroyed every other lawyer in the state because...
Honestly, because he's the only one that comes to mind.
Yeah. It's the best advertising.
It's great advertising because that's where my head goes.
Well,
just like if I want cash now, it's J.G. Wentworth.
I don't want the flaccid arm of the law.
I can't honestly.
I want the affordable.
Really poor
I want the affordable
usage.
Arm of the law.
It's really poor.
No,
word
flaccid
usage.
is a great word.
I need you to stop saying flaccid right now.
No.
I probably do hear many things multiple times a day, but nothing springs to mind.
We have the meats.
My wife tells me she loves me. That's probably a lie. If I had to guess. But I've heard it enough that I'm starting to believe it.
I've heard I've been fired enough that I'm kind of starting to believe it a little bit.
Yeah,
you're just perpetually fired.
I'm perpetually fired.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. You're still getting paid, so yeah, you're in a great spot.
It's a good way to be fired.
Yeah. How about Princess Bride is amazing?
First of all, that is true.
It is.
I say that at least once every day.
Yes.
Usually in my sleep.
But how much of that? Okay. But how much of that is associated with the people we share the movie with?
Yes, I was going to say that is very much associated with my memories of the movie. Yeah.
And friends who enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that it is an older movie, so you have the nostalgic effect.
Well, I mean, honestly, when in terms of stuff like that, in terms of levels of enjoyment, things, that's all a matter of perspective anyway.
It is. Yes.
That's all subjective. But I don't know. I can't think of anything I hear every day.
I mean, I don't like listen to radio or watch like live TV enough.
Yeah, that's
to
the thing.
Hear things
everything I do is streaming these days.
Right.
And things like that. So,
I will say, like in the Seventh Truths, like maybe not here every day, but when you said The Princess Bride, it reminded me of this, of movies that are considered classics,
right?
That regardless of who you are, I could name certain movies.
That is
exactly,
true,
like
yeah,
whether or not I fully remember a movie, if I
or if
know
I've seen them,
or if I've ever seen it, or anything like that. If I know I've heard enough people say it's amazing, I'm like, well, it's amazing.
Well, it's got to be.
It's got to be. I hear everyone talk about it.
Why?
I did that with what movie was it? Citizen Kane.
Yeah, boring as hell.
Right.
Oh, I tried to watch it. I was
So
like,
terrible.
why is this amazing? This movie is awful.
Yeah.
And how did they know he said Rosebud? The nurse didn't walk in until after he was dead. Who heard him say Rosebud?
There's so many of those type of things.
That was actually proof for the record, government spying on us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the real.
You heard it here first.
Moral
And we're going to say it every day.
What were you going to say?
That's just, I think that's the falsehood of like, I don't know what the term is, but like, you know, like the group think, like everyone says this is a classic, mentality. So it must be, like 2001
kind of bandwagon.
Yeah, like 2001 Space Odyssey
is
what considered one of the classics of science fiction.
I don't like anything Stanley Kubrick has ever made.
Yeah. So
I was like, he's an amazing director. Why?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he's a very effective director. He's very good at what he did.
Stuff is boring.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to
so all of these are liminal messages.
Yes.
Because none of them, like most of them are actual.
Right.
You hear people say it
Thank you
directly.
for that distinction. Thank you for that distinction. Subliminal is, it's literally under the radar. Basically, it's things that you are not consciously aware of.
It would be similar to, actually, this is a great one for people watching the video. Right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're getting the subliminal messaging that we do it on Twitch because of the thing behind us that says Mondays at twitch.tv/comicstorian. Yeah. There's the small subliminal messaging that it's there, your mind's seeing it, but you're not fully consciously focusing on it.
I love all the subliminal messaging in this one image. I mean, like this one right here. And that one up there.
No, that one over there is my favorite.
No, that one over here.
Yeah.
No, right there, right
there.
Yeah.
No.
Right there.
A little bit more.
A little bit there.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's my favorite. So what are subliminal messages exactly?
They're under the radar.
I'm going to refinance my mortgage now.
I don't know. There's something called a sensation threshold. Subliminal, when stimuli are below one's absolute threshold of conscious awareness. Exactly. Thank you for that distinction.
Good job.
So...
I didn't even see that that's what we were going to.
That's exactly where we were going, yeah. Subliminal messages are defined as signals below the absolute threshold level, ATL, of our conscious awareness. The word subliminal literally means below threshold. The first thing we need to understand is that we cannot become consciously aware of subliminal stimuli until, I would kind of disagree until it's pointed out to us.
It's
somebody tells
cat.
you.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
It's the Schrodinger's cat. Until you know it's there, you can't say that it's there. Essentially.
Exactly. So aware of subliminal stimuli, even if we look for it. Absolute threshold is defined as the lowest level of stimulus we can detect, be it visual, auditory, or sensory, etc. When an external stimuli falls below ATL, it cannot be detected consciously. The second thing we need to understand is that subliminal perception is believed to be a result of a deliberately designed communication technique aimed at generating a response so that people will do things they wouldn't ordinarily do.
Yeah, right. Why else would you put it in there?
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's just subliminal, like you
fun.
look lovely today.
You look lovely.
Okay.
Do positive
I would love
yes.
positive subliminal.
Yeah.
Damn it. Why can't they do that kind of stuff? I'd be so much better.
Your hair looks phenomenal.
Yes.
I just want like a screen burn in the back of my phone.
Sure,
it's
just always there.
You are great. Thanks, phone.
Thanks. I feel amazing every time I look at my phone.
Know. All right.
We're going to get to that later, too.
I don't know.
Google's Selfish Ledger. Have you guys heard of the Selfish Ledger?
I haven't, but we'll get there.
We'll get there. Superliminal versus subliminal. Subliminal stimuli cannot be perceived with us being aware, even if we look for it. In contrast, superliminal, which would be the opposite, stimuli can be perceived by the conscious mind. So things like
advertising,
land of the free, advertising. Yeah. I'd say 90% of advertising is supraliminal.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on because I know our conversation can go quite long.
No.
We are going to look at this list of 11 examples of advertising and marketing with subliminal messages.
Okay.
Because
it's inappropriate.
Because
like it.
the ice cream Magnum isn't already subliminal messaging.
Yes.
Look up the Light, Magnum Light. And I'm pretty sure this was removed from Monsters, Inc.
Probably.
That's gotta be removed.
I'm sure by now it's been removed.
It's on Disney Plus that way.
Yeah.
When advertising is prohibited, make it subliminal. Over the last years, this is from mdirector.com. Over the last years, quite a few laws have been passed that prohibit the advertising of products such as alcohol and tobacco. However, this doesn't mean that companies have abandoned their marketing strategies altogether. In a smart move, they have chosen a more subtle way, marketing with a subliminal message. Today, we are going to show you 11 examples of advertising and marketing that contain subliminal messages. You may already know a few of them, but there are probably some you have seen a number of times without even noticing they were there, which is what they were designed to do.
Yeah.
Number one, the famous Samsung and the Oscars selfie.
I don't know what they're subliminally trying to tell me. All I know is that when you take a selfie, no one knows which side of the camera to look at because they don't know where the camera actually is.
That is true.
That's true. Is it right there? No, it's right there. Wait, is it hidden? Sometimes a subliminal advert is not a well-worked image or a visual illusion. Sometimes these adverts just happen because a specific product is always there or in the background without being evident. This is what is called product placement, obviously.
Yeah.
Happens all the time in movies. In the case of Transformers, it's Xbox.
And Mountain Dew.
And Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
I wonder what age bracket they're trying to go for.
I have no idea. But I could go for an Xbox and a Mountain Dew right now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. At any age, it sounds great. This is what is called product placement and is when certain products or locations are repeatedly shown on TV shows or films. Samsung took this one step further, and regardless whether it was all staged, which seems as though it was, the selfie that Ellen DeGeneres took at the Oscars celebration in 2014 was a huge welcome for the brand. They were the global sponsor of these awards, but they confirmed that they never planned for the TV presenter to get together some of the most popular faces in Hollywood for a picture on a Samsung phone. Now,
okay,
that's
for the
tricky.
record, I had no idea it was on a Samsung.
I had no idea either.
But
Who
in no
honestly
way
would have known.
Did I? Yeah, in no way did I know that. All I saw was, oh look, it's a bunch of famous people in a selfie picture.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nobody was like holding up a Samsung.
Yeah, it's not like they're like, hey guys, let's all show off our Samsung.
What I'm gonna do.
That's how they sound when they show off their Samsung. Just so you know.
Is I'm gonna cast
that's a
this so
waterfall.
our audience could see it.
Ooh.
So that was the image right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Product placement at its best.
All right, number two, Marlboro and Ferrari. One of the biggest controversies ever relating to subliminal messages happened in one of the favorite advertising places for the tobacco and alcohol industry, Formula One. In fact, next to monthly magazines, this is one of the few places left where they can still advertise. That's why Marlboro has been advertising in the world of motorsports for years. However, because of laws banning and advertising these products, they have had to innovate and advertise themselves in a more subtle way. At one point, all the tobacco brand logos were removed from the cars due to these restrictions. However, Marlboro cleverly got around this ban by creating a more subtle design. They simulated a tobacco packet by painting a barcode on the back of the car, as you can see in the following image.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. What am I looking at?
So, this is supposed to be a package, like a cigarette pack.
Yep. So
I just see a barcode with different colors.
That's the idea.
I get that, but
yeah.
I mean, I say that in the sense of, if you did not tell me that, in no way would my head go cigarettes, Marlboro, anything like that. And I feel like subliminal messages.
They were desperate for an advertising opportunity.
Right.
Just put a barcode back there, goddammit.
Yeah. All right, number three, Futurama and the Popular Party. This is one of the examples of marketing with subliminal messages where the sound is important. Ooh. It comes from Futurama, an animated series that has been moving from channel to channel in Spain for a number of years. In one of the episodes, one of the main characters called Bender hums... Who's Bender? Hums a well-known song.
Rodriguez.
Yes. And it wasn't a coincidence why it happened. In the original version of this episode, the character hummed the hymn of the Republican Party of the United States. When they translated the show into Spanish, they had to find a suitable substitute related to the political right. In this case, it wasn't the Partido Popular who were the ones who chose to send the message. It was the Republican Party from the original version. So, interesting.
I mean, I guess that would also require me to actually know what their song was.
Right.
Yes.
Because now if I ever heard that, I would just go, why are you telling me to watch Futurama?
Yeah.
Stop trying to be Bender, okay? You can't do it. Ooh, I hit the microphone.
That's right. Number 4, Toblerone. There's a bear.
There
Oh
is
yeah,
a bear.
look at that.
Yep. Right
I don't
there.
get the point,
Right
but there is one.
That's all. Yep. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Pepsi. This is an example of marketing with a subliminal message where the brand later admitted their intention. It created panic because a lot of people found a message printed on the inside of their bottle tap saying, "Help me, trapped in Sobe factory."
I actually remember that.
Sobe's bad. They have their workers trapped. That's what I got out of it.
Number 6, The Simpsons and Futurama. Executive producer David Watch Futurama Cohen.
Okay, that's good.
Let me zoom in on that one.
See, that right there is exactly like our
thing
thing on the background where it's because it happens so frequently, your brain doesn't register when it's different.
Yeah.
This
great.
looks like back when Futurama was still a new show.
I would
and they were
say
trying,
it is.
They were trying to plug for it, yeah.
That's early.
Before the first episode of the series Futurama aired.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
That's good.
And then they did it again.
Futurama on the t-shirt.
Futurama on the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, the Futurama on the t-shirt, that, as far as I've noticed in all of those, Simpsons or Simpsons related shows always cross over and stuff like this.
Well, yeah, but that's the point.
But I'm not. Yeah. But see, that's the question: is when does it become just a simple? Here's an Easter egg, versus subliminal messaging.
It can be both. How are you doing that?
Okay. Number 7, Sony Vaio. This is not subliminal messaging. I don't know why this is on the list.
I don't know
it's
either.
Basically,
it just says Vaio.
It's an analog signal and then binary. So it's the combination of what Sony does.
See, so many of these aren't so much subliminal to me. Aren't so much subliminal messaging as just clever advertising.
Yeah.
Well,
that's pretty much what it is.
The best kind of advertising is subliminal or has a subliminal
undertone.
What I'm
saying is like those aren't really in my opinion, I wouldn't. The way that I perceive what a subliminal message is different from a lot of these where it seems much more of we are just being very creative with
That's how they
what we're doing.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's actually how
I feel like there's got to be some sort of like specification that would put these into different categories. Because I don't know, the more we're going into a lot of these, the more I like subliminal messaging is not being implied as what I have always considered it as.
What have you always considered it
I've
as?
always considered it as trying to influence someone by hiding a message. Yeah. Whenever I've always seen subliminal, that's what I always see. Whereas stuff like that, it's not trying to subliminally tell me a message. Yeah. It's that's clever. They merged what it is with what it looks like. Like I've seen a lot of those. Yes. Like there's quite a few like esports teams that their logo is incredibly well designed because it works with the team's name and it shows something. But I wouldn't really consider that subliminal messaging as opposed to if it was like, but in that it's got something that would almost encourage you to go buy a jersey for their team. Do you kind of see what I'm saying? Like the difference,
But that might encourage you to buy a jersey from the team because you like the logo because you think it works well with the name.
But like you kind of see what I'm saying. Whereas like as a conspiracy, I feel like there's the difference between the conspiracy of subliminal messaging and being a good product designer.
Yes.
Like that. I guess that's the better way to say what I mean.
No, I agree. That's why I said that the Sony Vaio logo doesn't belong on the list because it's just a logo.
Exactly.
It's just a clever logo. They're not trying to tell you anything with it.
Because that's what I felt with the Toblerone one as well. Because it's like
it's a bear.
I don't get.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
What would that be trying to get?
Exactly. It's like, are you trying to
see what that does
subliminally tell me to do?
That subliminally tells you that you like bears, so that the bears can easier kill you because you think they're adorable.
And you're fatter.
A little known fact is Toblerones are owned by bears.
Yes, you're supporting the bear population. Real bears, like brown bears.
Yeah, actual bears.
Grizzly bears.
All right. Anyway, just
polar bears.
Yes.
Yep.
It's a giant bear conspiracy.
I like to think that they all like have different jobs.
Accents?
Accents. Like the panda bears, you know.
Yeah.
They have a specific job.
Right.
The Kodiak bear is like the boss.
I could see that.
Yeah. All right, so KFC.
The Coca-Cola bear. It's like, man, do you guys want to get a drink? I don't know what I want to drink.
Polar bears, their specialty is advertising. They're like the models.
That's true.
Yeah. All right, so KFC, if you think this is just a simple hamburger advert, then you have to wait. Well, it's not a hamburger, it's chicken. You have to wait until the end. You will see how a lettuce leaf has been changed into a dollar bill.
Intriguing.
Right there.
Oh, yeah.
You can barely see it because somebody recorded it off of their
of
TV.
that?
I have no idea. It's a 99-cent KFC smoker.
It's not even like, I guess because it only costs $1.
Yes. Tostitos, 2 people sharing chip and dip.
Yeah.
Snooty Peacock, which I've never heard of.
I don't know what
that
is.
There's a face and a peacock.
Oh, yeah.
It's a woman with a necklace, too.
Yep. Spartan Golf Club, guy playing golf, and it's a Spartan face. Yep.
Sure.
And we're done with that list.
Yeah, see, this was more clever product design.
It's clever product design. I think my favorite is the Futurama stuff.
Yeah, the Futurama, that's something I would consider subliminal because it's something that is would put your mind to a certain direction without you thinking of it.
Yeah.
Yep. In fact, I like casting all this stuff. This is fun. All right, so moving on. A short history of the rise, fall, and rise of subliminal messaging. This is from scientificamerican.com by Coke. The idea that people can be subliminally influenced is ancient. Historical evidence suggests that in the 5th century BC, Greek thinkers attempted to employ subtle yet persuasive language to sneakily influence people. In the mid-20th century, the idea famously captured popular attention, but science has only recently begun to parse the actual effects of subliminal messages. So in 1943, subliminal messages were occasionally embedded in radio, film, and television programs. And in an animated short featuring Daffy Duck in 1943, for example, the words "buy bonds" appeared briefly on screen.
I actually know of that one.
Mm-hmm. He turns a statue and
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nobody knew whether these messages would influence people, but they figured it couldn't hurt to try.
Screw it. Why not as well throw them in?
Why not?
Yeah. What was the movie about? I don't know, but I suddenly want to buy bonds.
Buy more bonds.
Buy cigarettes and spend a lot of money. And
I also want to go eat chocolate near bears for some reason. Yeah. I don't even know why.
Bears are just laughing.
Support the bears. They're the ones behind it. The whole 1957, James Vickery, a market researcher, claimed that by flashing the words "eat popcorn and drink Coca-Cola" during a movie for a fraction of a second, he significantly increased the sale of these snacks. 5 years later, he admitted he had faked this study. By that time, however, the public had grown concerned and advertisers and government agencies intrigued. Of course they were. About the manipulative power of these messages. Late 1960s and 1980s, scientific studies throughout the 1960s, 1970s, and 1980s tended to discredit the claims that subliminal messages could subtly influence behavior. One study, for instance, showed that flashing the words Hershey's chocolate on a series of slides during a lecture did not influence whether students purchased Hershey's products during a 10-day period. 1990s. Although many studies continue to discredit the claim, 90s is when it gets interesting, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Studies continue to discredit the claim that subliminal messages carried any psychological weight. Other research started to uncover subtle effects. In one such study from 1992, participants viewed images of a person engaged in a normal daily activity. After each image, researchers quickly flashed a photograph. Half the viewers saw positive, uplifting content, and half saw negative content. Those who saw negative messages reported thinking of the photographed person in a more damaged light. Interesting. Early 2000s, research continued to show that subliminal messages do influence our perceptions. The effect is just subtler than we thought. 2006 studies have shown subliminal messages may work in advertising after all. Hey, they were onto something. In certain situations, for example, a 2006 study found that participants flashed an image of a brand name drink, in this case Lipton iced tea, were more likely to choose that brand to quench their thirst. This association only held up, however, if participants were already thirsty. Interesting. Another provocative study showed that embedding images related to thirst in an episode of The Simpsons actually made people thirstier. Interesting. 2007, subliminal messages may also enhance academic performance. In a 2007 study, researchers flashed students hidden words related or unrelated to intelligence, such as talent and grass.
I mean, to be fair, when I think intelligence, my head goes, well, grass.
Obviously. It's the smartest of all.
Exactly.
I think what they're saying is that they were alternating. They were showing some students intelligence,
right,
and then other people grass,
respectively, before a practice exam. Those who saw the intelligence words performed better on a midterm 1 to 4 days later. 2010 to 2015. We'll be done with this article. Imaging studies have shown that our brain responds to subliminal messages in measurable ways. Activity levels change in the amygdala, which processes emotions, the insula involved in conscious awareness, the hippocampus involved in processing memories, and the visual cortex. So subliminal messaging works. 100% it works, but it's a lot more subtle. The effects are more subtle.
Right. You're not going to see one image and suddenly want to run out and do whatever.
Right. And it seems a lot more like instead of making you want to do things, it doesn't work in the sense of making you want to do things from what I've gathered, but works in the sense of if you already plan on doing something, the subliminal messaging will steer you.
Right.
It has shown effective to steer you in a direction as opposed to push you in a direction.
Right. Exactly.
I guess would that be kind of a good way to...
And it's consistent, regular exposure if you want long-term effects.
Yes.
Because we're going back to the illusory truth effect. You know, if you influence somebody to buy a Lipton iced tea once, then, okay, you're successful. But how can you get them to become a lifelong customer of Lipton iced tea? Right. You got to repeat it over and over and over again.
Right. Or a real life subliminal would be, let's say your neighbor drinks Lipton iced tea and you may never see them say it or anything like that, but you do often see them just drinking tea. Your head starts thinking, oh, I should drink tea. Like your head's putting your mind in that sense. I'm now curious whether or not I have, when I drink tea on the streams, if anyone watching is like, kind of thirsty. I should go get a cup of tea. Or when we're having beer or something like that, or your Mountain Dew. Or
say, I see you drink tea all the time, and not once have I ever thought of getting my own tea.
Me neither.
But how often do one of us get some water, and then the rest of us, I'll have some water too.
Well, yeah.
Or you see someone get a drink, or I'll have tea, and you'll be like, well, I kind of want to make some coffee now.
Right. Yeah.
Regardless of the message being tea, it could be the subliminal is, well, I'm drinking something.
Yeah.
I'm drinking caffeine.
Absolutely. It's the same effect. So our brains fill in a lot of information. So our brains will tell us a lot of things that may not be true. So one example of this is wine. So we have actually proven that really, really expensive wine and cheap wine taste the same.
Yes.
Like 100 studies have been done on this. So basically, if you believe it's expensive and therefore better, you are going to think it tastes better.
Sure.
Yes.
Even if you switch the labels, it doesn't matter what you do to it. The cheap wine and the expensive wine objectively taste the same. Okay. Now, if they're good wines, there's just some genuinely awful wine out there. But we're assuming that it's like
super expensive.
It's like if you got the exact same one and you said,
that's an expensive glass of wine there. It's got to be good, right?
It tastes like $1,000.
It's my wine
$1,000 tastes like crap.
Sometimes it does.
Sometimes
it does, yeah. What's that?
I still want to cut mine with Red Bull.
So I would argue that we are being brainwashed and given subliminal messages everywhere.
Yes.
And every day. Through addictive chemicals, sugar, caffeine. Game theory is another one. You actually, when you go to college to develop video games, you take game theory classes, and basically what that tells you is video games are really any game is based on small rewards.
Yes.
And small hints on where to go, which keep people hooked onto the game.
Right.
That's actually one of the reasons why World of Warcraft, even before that, I believe it was EverQuest was so popular, is because despite the grind, there's small, consistent, regular rewards, and there's really not an end to it, which is why people give so much of their time to it.
Yep.
And you go to school for this. Like, they teach you how to develop an addictive video game. And I'm sure even like character design and color and all that plays a big part.
Right.
In that.
Yeah.
And you may not be aware of it. And then when you are aware of it, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I see what they did.
Bastards.
Colors in restaurants, music, repeated phrases. So one example of this is Subway. I think it's the color yellow actually incites hunger. I don't know what the color green does. Maybe spend your money or fresh. Like it's that kind of
I would go with fresh.
I would say probably fresh. Yeah.
So you're hungry,
especially considering
fresh,
it's Subway, eat fresh.
Yeah.
I
didn't know yellow was associated with hunger.
Yes.
Interesting.
So the color schemes of restaurants are very intentional. You know, it's like when you go to a restaurant that serves high-end cuisine, you're not in like a dive bar somewhere who happens to be serving high-end cuisine.
Right.
You know, when you're in a restaurant that wants you to believe that you're being served high-end cuisine, the restaurant itself is going to appear high-end. It's going to appear expensive. They're going to raise their prices, so you believe that what you're getting is more expensive.
Yep.
I think it was the restaurant Chili's, maybe? I believe it was Chili's.
High-end cuisine.
Yeah, it's high-end cuisine.
Yes.
That they noticed that one of their dishes was not selling well. And I think it was just called like chicken and herbs or something. This was years ago. So they changed the title of the dish, this chicken dish, and the recipe didn't change. Nothing about it changed. Just what they called it.
Okay.
And it was like seared chicken breast with rosemary or whatever.
Kind of preached it up a little bit.
Yeah. Sold really well after that.
Oh, I bet.
All they did was change the name, and then suddenly it was like, oh, this is amazing. This is like the greatest thing I've ever had.
Right.
You know, it's like how you dress up. You can dress up any basic dish and make it sound amazing, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is like blueberry compote with a peanut spread on brioche bread.
I've heard
that. So you dress something up, and suddenly it's like, oh yeah, it's so expensive. This is amazing. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Well, it's high-end peanut butter.
Yeah, that's right.
It's very high quality.
How much is this PB&J?
Yeah.
$30.
$30. Don't call it PB&J. This is a French restaurant. This is a French establishment. Just because you cut it corner to corner doesn't mean it's more expensive. All right, so Disney, McDonald's, Wendy's, and even Subway are all masters of influence in subliminal messages. Wendy's has the word mom on the the collar of the Wendy's girl.
Interesting.
So the way the collar rests and then the little brooch in the middle, it's literally spells M-O-M. It spells mom.
Never really noticed
Even
that.
the W for Wendy's is actually an upside down M. So what they want you to think about when you see Wendy's is mom's home cooking.
Right.
That kind of concept.
I don't, but that's cool.
Yeah. Disney, for example, they will pump cents into Main Street Disney. Whether you're talking Disney World, Disneyland.
Wait, pump what?
Scents. Smells.
Oh, smells. Okay. My head was at
think
first
I said?
going like cents, like money.
Just
and I was like, what the
Just
hell?
throwing money down Main Street Disney. Well, which they do, actually.
Oh, they do. Yeah, that's one example. Let's see here. What else?
You're not making any sense.
I have
Gary.
done that because I've been through Disney, and it's like, oh, what's that? Fresh popcorn and like
which makes you think,
something,
right?
Yeah, which makes you hungry.
I have noticed that.
Yeah, it's like you're not hungry until you walk into a place that smells like brisket or something.
Right.
Like,
oh my God.
Suddenly I'm starving.
Houston upstairs with cooking does that.
Yep.
So many times when I'm leaving work.
Even just smelling coffee can actually wake you up a little bit.
Yep.
I can see that.
Even though you haven't really come into contact with any of the caffeine.
No, you get it through your smell.
I mean, hell, it's almost the opposite with me and
Doing
whiskey.
lines of coffee.
Lines of coffee.
What?
I was gonna say it's actually kind of similar to me with whiskey. Of the smell.
The smell,
has the opposite effect.
Oh, sure.
But it
is
a.
You've been conditioned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And whiskey is the same thing. Like I will not spend in my lifetime, I will probably never spend more than $100 on a bottle of scotch or whiskey.
Yeah.
Because after that, there's a certain point at which the whiskey is just not better.
Right.
Oh, no. It becomes
really hit
a
this
quality then status symbol.
I mean, pretty much.
Exactly. It is a status symbol.
Yeah.
It is, guess how much I spent on this whiskey, which tastes exactly the same.
Way too much.
Yes.
Yeah, way too much. What a waste.
And I cut mine with Red Bull.
got everything with Red
this
Bull.
smells like debt.
Smells like... oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Smells like my credit card bill is going to be a lot of money.
Now, I will argue I have tried cheap whiskey. Don't go that cheap.
No. You got to get a middle ground.
You got to get a good middle ground, yeah.
It's the classic, there's really, really bad. All of these are pretty much the same. They're the same, but expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. This one's aged 30 years. Way too long. All right. So
It expires next month.
It's more clever. So when we're talking about subliminal messages, specifically with Disney, it's more clever than like when Simba collapses on the ground and the dust spells the word sex.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's a classic one. Yeah, it's more like the design of Disney princesses. Did you know that the design of Disney princesses since Ariel and Little Mermaid have been entirely to appeal to children?
I would assume, yeah. I mean, I don't know the specifics, but so that's the idea.
The proportion of current Disney princesses, and you can see a difference between Ariel and then like Snow White, because Snow White and Princess Aurora, they look like normal people. Yeah, eyes are the right size, all that. So you go from Ariel on, heads are larger, eyes are larger, which incite trust. Their proportions are more related to the proportions of a toddler,
right?
And so that appeals to children. It also makes parents trust these characters more. So
just we're clear, I never trust big-eyed, big-headed people.
Yeah, they also did it with the Na'vi in
Avatar.
Avatar,
I didn't trust them either.
Yeah, big eyes, very trustworthy, connected with nature. So suddenly, of course, you're gonna like feel for these natives who have these big like puppy dog.
Meanwhile, I'm watching that movie going,
you know, the
military guys got it going on. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They got mixed
well, they
suits
did.
and
They
stuff.
did the opposite.
That's cool.
So they did this kind of very like it was this very like anti-right kind of anti-Republican.
Oh yeah, the military guys were
messaging,
the bad guys in that movie,
and like right up front while the main baddie is like giving his speech, right up front are these guys who look like they came straight out of like a Kentucky militia.
Yeah.
And so of course the subliminal messaging there is military bad.
Yes.
Yeah. It's yeah. So
meanwhile,
maybe
I'm
not
going,
so.
where can I get a mech suit?
Yeah, seriously.
Sweet.
Yeah.
These other people just have bows and arrows. Stupid. I got the wrong message in the movie. The dragon bird thing is cool and all.
Yeah.
This guy's got a mech.
Yeah, let's never mind.
And no one ever talks about the fact that they pretty much are having sex with their mounts.
tails.
Just saying.
It's true.
Like,
no
one talks about this.
It's messed up on
so
many
they are.
levels.
Yeah. Oh, the movie's very messed up. It also follows the same beats as Titanic. If you compare the movies side by side, it follows the same.
See, I went with
it's
Pocahontas.
also Fern Gully.
Pocahontas, Fern Gully, Dances with Wolves. Yeah, it's that. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, keep going.
Natives are
This is
perfect.
completely off
Advanced
topic. We
civilizations
apologize.
are bad.
It's true.
No, it's true. They are. Because when they make love.
No, don't think about it too much. Don't think about it too much. Don't think about it too much.
Right?
Yeah, weird. We apologize. This is off
all right.
topic.
Not to mention Google's selfish ledger, which is Google's attempt at manipulating our behavior through the things that we see and experience on our smartphones.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There's one. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was like when you try and Google something and you clearly mess it up. That it's the Google is subliminally exactly. Are you sure you meant this or did you mean this?
Yeah.
They both got the letter I in it, so I know you meant this one.
Oh yeah, actually trying to find conspiracy theories through a Google search, incredibly difficult.
I can imagine.
You have to use another browser. You have to use other
yeah, I can
methods.
imagine.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult.
It's the only time Microsoft Edge.
You're just like. Conspiracies about Google, and Google comes up zero search results.
Weird. Oh, interesting.
Did you mean reasons why Google is not brainwashing the planet?
Yes. Yeah, no, not at all.
How they give
also,
donations?
Subtitle, don't screenshot this and share this on social media, please.
So that would be the perfect reverse psychology, subliminal messaging.
Totally
Put another thing.
It's like Google SWAT team suddenly shows up at your house.
Excuse me, we're called the Alphabet SWAT team.
Sorry. Google actually bought your neighborhood.
I just picture a SWAT team in like really bright colors.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Very bright colors. You know, they're very helpful.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh man, I don't know how to get these cuffs on. Here, let me show you.
I've got multiple videos.
Yeah, it's multiple videos.
What language would you like?
What language? So subliminal messaging is more than just words. That generally that's what we do. I think subliminal messaging is also employed by celebrities and entertainment companies to take the power away from the viewer or the consumer. One example that I found very, very strange, and some people might disagree, I'm sure they will, was the Beyonce halftime show in 2013 for Super Bowl 47. This will always stick out in my mind as very odd. So in the middle of her performance, she literally tells the audience to raise their hands to her and give her their energy.
So like a spirit bomb.
Like a spirit bomb.
Okay.
Beyonce's Goku. That's what we're getting out of this show.
The
Beyonce
subliminal messaging
is Goku.
You know what would be hilarious? To see numbers to see how many people search Dragon Ball Z after that.
Maybe.
If the fact that you saying that made me immediately
she was
go
actually
spirit
fighting Frieza the whole time.
That makes sense.
She works for Funimation.
The concert was a distraction.
Why do you find this weird? What do you think this is subliminal for?
It is. I believe that it is.
Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Super came out like a month later.
Yeah, either her or a record company's attempt at getting devotion. At getting,
okay. All right, I see.
Because when you raise your hands to somebody like that, it's surrender.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So when you, like, people do it during worship services.
Sure,
like
yeah.
church, or any other sort of like spiritual experience. It is a spiritual experience. So when somebody tells you, literally raise your hands to me, give me your energy.
See,
you're expressing a kind of control.
I won't say I'm disagreeing and saying maybe it wasn't subliminal. I would say maybe it wasn't intentional, just because of the heightened sense of self-importance that tends to run through Hollywood and music and things like that. So it's possible she wasn't like, okay, this is what I'm planning on doing. It's possible that she really does see herself like this, and that people should revere her.
That may be, yes. That's a part of the argument. But what always stood out to me was just how odd and how strange the request was.
Yes, that is a very strange. It was very odd. Not throw your hands in the air like you just don't care.
Right. Yeah.
Put your right hand up.
Put your hands up.
Give me
your energy.
Yes.
She's also claimed that when she goes on stage, somebody else takes over.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. I don't know if that's intentional.
Right.
It's just because they have this hyper sense of self-importance.
Right. Yeah, it's like
someone else taking over. Whenever you get on stage, you feel incredibly different than you do normally.
Well, it's a performance.
Exactly,
it's somebody else. Yeah,
like of course someone else is taking over.
Have a good day, guys.
No, okay, sorry. My bad.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean,
or
for me,
find out next week.
For me, I found the whole thing very odd and very kind of like
it's kind of
disturbing.
But like I said, I don't know if I would say that was intentional.
I'm not saying it was even intentional.
Unless Dragon Ball was coming out and they were trying to promote that.
Right.
Yeah,
for all we know, she could have been coached into doing something like that. I mean, we don't know. That's the thing. But it was very odd. So to close out the episode, because we are at 51 minutes, here's a 1960s subliminal messages in slow motion. I'm going to cast it so that the
I was going to say, are you going to cast it? Because now I'm just looking at
it's like freeze frame. Podcast.tv.
Freeze frame.
Okay.
Motion.
No, it's easier to watch on this.
It is true.
Around.
Just subtitles.
Subtitles.
This is probably one of the creepiest videos I've ever seen on the internet.
It already is.
Yeah.
The noise doesn't help.
Yeah, I'm going to turn that
I'm definitely not like...
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Somebody's recording it, yeah. Actually, no. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay. And done.
But it's obviously in slow motion, right? I say, yeah.
He's slowing it. Like whoever produced this slowed it down.
Believing. Who's the government god?
I think I'm missing something.
Okay, so the bottom words right now
up here.
Are flashing across the screen.
Yes.
See, okay, I'm going to say this. And if you ever make a video like this yourself, do a normal speed, then slow it down so I can see what you're showing me.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Watch it up here and you'll see it better.
Hold on. I see what it is now. Yeah. Okay, I see what it's. The letters are different before it changes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my favorite is rebellion is not tolerated.
See, they're like disappearing quickly.
Yeah.
They're in the fade. They're in the crossfade.
I've actually done this before in our main videos. I do. I have sometimes done, for the record, in some of the older original comic story and stuff, I put stuff in the background to see if people in the comments would notice.
Sure.
No one noticed.
Well, that's not subliminal. That's just you trying to see if people are paying attention.
Exactly my point from earlier, though.
You never have any points from earlier.
But you see what I'm saying? Something that wasn't there could be considered, could not be.
Believe in government God. Who's government God? Sounds like a terrible supervillain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Government God. He's coming. Oh no, it's government God. For some reason, he's got a top hat in my head.
Anyway. So that...
Interesting.
Was actually a broadcast in 1960.
I believe that.
Yes. Which lines up with everything. Yeah, which lines up with everything we've been talking about. Like it was in the 50s and 60s when subliminal messaging,
when they were really trying to try it out,
really trying to try that out. But it's still very creepy, and the guy's music that he adds doesn't help.
Yeah, that didn't help.
You know what's actually kind of funny is I'm wondering if subliminal advertising only works because of the illusion theory, whatever, of the saying something multiple times. Because if we go back, the very first one was faked and it didn't work. Then it was faked. Then it somewhat worked. Then it somewhat worked. Then it started working.
Do we believe it's working?
I'm wondering if maybe we believe that it is giving us subliminal messages and like influencing us because people keep saying, well, subliminal advertising, it tells you what to do. It's brainwashing you. And you hear it enough times that now subliminal advertising affects what you do.
Well, why do you constantly go to McDonald's? Oh, it's subliminal advertising.
Well, something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, I just don't care. Honestly,
I just don't care.
I just really like Quarter Pounders.
But like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's been said enough, and according to the timeline we went through, it went from either being faked or didn't work to over time it conveniently started working.
Yes.
And conveniently became more consistent with working.
Right.
And it's just kind of funny because it goes along with that original.
I would also say that maybe because it started when it was the mid 2000s, early 2000s, when they were like, well, no, it definitely is working, which is also like the birth of like social media and things like that. So we're also bombarded more than you would have been in like the 60s. Like if you didn't have a TV, you wouldn't noticed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
you can't like put a subliminal message in the national anthem before a ball game.
Right, because
you can try.
I mean, you could try. It'd be hilarious. Yeah. There's somebody actually singing quieter in the background with different words. No, so as social media and the internet and everything became more prominent, we're just bombarded constantly.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe it is a matter of, well, now they're just doing it more. So that's why
and it's all the time.
But that's why I'm just saying it is kind of funny because for all we know, it could be that, be that. Like, there's so much to it, but I don't know. I feel like in general, the conspiracy behind subliminal messaging is it's very, very tricky because of the fact of there are plenty of things, at least when it comes to the discussing of it, of Easter eggs versus subliminal messaging versus good designs.
Like creative advertising.
Creative advertising. Like, because that's when I think conspiracy with subliminal messages, I think what we just saw, trying to, like, doing something small to try and make you do something, as opposed to a lot of the ones we went through, which were more just fun little Easter eggs of, oh, look, the Magnum Light, the ice cream looks like sexy legs. Yeah. Exactly. Like to imply that you eat the lighter stuff. But the point being, when it comes to the conspiracies, I feel like there needs to be a defining
factor. And I would argue that we send each other subliminal messages all the time with body language, and these are things that we're not even always aware of. Like when you are actually engaged with somebody in conversation and you like the person, your feet are facing them.
Yep.
And if you don't want to actually talk to somebody, generally your feet are going to be facing away. When someone likes another person romantically, their eyes actually dilate when they talk to them. So things like this, that we're sending messages all the time with body language and clothing and hairstyles and all that, like smells. Constantly. Just look at somebody going on a first date.
That is true.
I mean, it is constant subliminal messages.
Yeah,
I put on
trick someone into liking you.
Basically, that's what it is. Yeah.
And trapped. And then they're trapped. 2 years later, don't even know what's going on.
But we do it all the time. All the time. There's actually, this is a good practice. They're called power positions. So you can
Power
actually,
pose.
yes, power poses. So you can actually trick your
my
brain.
mind went a completely inappropriate direction.
You can trick your brain, and you're going to go in a worse direction in a second.
All right.
You can trick your brain into believing that you are more powerful than you maybe actually are by standing or sitting in certain power positions.
Yeah.
Basically, the more open and wide you are, the more powerful you are. Which is why you should always avoid like sitting crunched up or sitting, basically taking.
That's why I always spread out everywhere.
No, it's true.
I go.
When you walk
It's
into
the reason
a room,
why when you go, they tell you if you get like run into a wild animal, get as
make
big
yourself big.
as possible.
Yeah, you're imposing. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, somebody who seems more confident is going to stand up more straight than somebody else. Somebody can appear taller than they actually are because their posture is better than everyone else around them.
Yeah. A lot of people think I'm a lot shorter than I actually am because I
slouch.
I slouch a lot. I do.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's
And then I stand up
lot we
straight
can
and people
do.
are like, oh crap. I didn't realize you were 6 feet tall.
Oh no, Dan has
Yeah.
gone to his full size.
Yeah. So what they say is actually before an interview, walk into a bathroom or somewhere you can be alone and stand like this, legs spread out, arms spread out for 20 seconds. And what that does is it actually triggers a hormonal response in your brain to be more aggressive.
And then,
So-
knowing my luck, the interviewer will come into the bathroom and see me standing there. I'm your 3 o'clock.
Yeah, but then it's
Don't
a
worry.
contest.
Power.
But little do you know that your interviewer did it for 40 seconds.
Oh.
They actually were showing up going, oh, I was about to do that.
about
Want to
to
do
do
it
that.
together?
Yeah, yeah,
Let's do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Both in the bathroom.
But they really break it down by going, your post sucks.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
Well, it's funny because
I'm sorry.
there's also like the slight alternating of, while yes, looking bigger, stuff like that, there are people that will kind of slouch so that when they straighten up,
Give you
it
a
looks
false
like a
sense.
much bigger difference
Yeah.
in like size change
Yeah.
compared to just straighten up. Whereas if I was
Right.
like this and then like you get that almost subliminal of, okay, this might be a dangerous situation I'm getting in. That This
Exactly.
person
That's why
just got a
you
lot
puff out
bigger.
your
What
chest,
the hell's
yeah.
going on kind of thing.
I usually extend the spikes that come out of my back during that one.
Yeah.
just don't sneeze.
It's very intimidating.
Yeah.
Subliminal messaging also exists in movies. It's called visual subtext.
Yes.
So there's visual subtext. You can't tell a really good visual story without it. And so you're being bombarded with information about the world you're watching the entire film,
Yep.
and you're not even aware that it's happening. That's good visual storytelling. And even
Also, that's like the best kind of world building is where you can tell what's going on in the world
Right.
itself just based solely upon what you're seeing.
Exactly. If you
I
can
don't need someone to have
Exactly.
explain it all to me.
Exactly. You can watch any Marvel film and you can immediately tell who the leader is,
Yep.
what's going on. Like you can take just a frame of the movie and you can immediately start to deduce what's happening, what the story is, who's who, which is why the most important heroes almost always wear red.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Santa Claus.
yeah. If you want to appear to be somebody, if you want to look like somebody who is punctual, wear a watch. That tells people this person cares about time.
Or if you want to look more intelligent, wear glasses.
Wear glasses.
Mine don't
sure
have
Or
any
nerdy.
frames.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
mine
big
don't have any
difference.
link.
Frames matter.
Yep. If your hair doesn't cover your ears, that tells people that you're more trustworthy. It's some evolutionary thing where for men, if your hair is covering your ears, you on some level appear less trustworthy than somebody who's more clean cut.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Dan.
He's just gonna
Oh, my
It
hair
also
is
looks
Immediately
strange. It also
don't-
just looks strange, yeah.
Immediately don't trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why before I put my son down in a room with a bunch of other babies, I comb his hair behind his ears.
Oh. And tell him to puff up.
Yep.
That way.
Like,
you
all right,
can
son.
Rule the babies.
Yeah. Rule the babies.
But when his baby
Yes.
couldn't do it, he got like a coat hanger and just like put
Yeah,
it in
yeah,
the
yeah,
clothes so
yeah.
that he was just forced to be like, it's like
The whole time.
His power position. Have you done your power position yet?
It's like, I can barely hold up my head.
I can barely hold up my head. Okay.
Luckily, it's smart enough to tell you, I can barely hold my head, Dad. I can't power pose. What do you want from me?
Yeah. Gary, your daughter just like dominates preschool. I don't understand.
And you're like, good.
Good.
That's what I wanted.
Any last thoughts on subliminal messaging? Any examples? Personal experiences?
No, I mean, like I said, I already gave kind of my thoughts on what to me, a good form of subliminal messaging is just good advertising.
It is.
Yeah, realistically.
Yeah, I
thoughts.
think it's a subliminal messaging is also kind of one of those things that it's like It is Schrodinger's cat.
It is.
Once you know about it, is
Once
it
you know about
really
it. Right.
Yes.
subliminal messaging?
You're pointing it out. Yeah.
That's why people who are really experienced with manipulation can always tell when somebody's trying to manipulate them, because manipulation is subliminal. It's very subtle.
Yeah.
And so somebody who's been around it a lot, they experienced it, or they're an expert on it, like somebody in the CIA. They can call it out immediately. It's like, I see what you're doing here. You're doing
Right.
X, Y, and Z. I think subliminal messaging is, again, it's more than words. It's more than images. It's some people would say evolution, which is why a creature that is not actually poisonous will have the colors of something that is.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway.
Just like me.
Yeah.
So that is our episode today. It is all about subliminal messaging. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. You can find Glorp Dan
at Dante Producer on Twitter and Instagram, and Dante Streamer on Twitch.
Yes, Andy. Glorp Andy, sorry.
Jesus. I am the Andy on Instagram.
Yeah. And you can find me at Glorp Gary.
That's pretty much it. That's all
on Twitter at Film Circuit and Instagram at Northward Films. And we will actually put the link to that video that we shared in the comments, not the comment section, but in the description.
Somewhere.
We'll put you won't know it's there.
It's on his laptop. That's where we put it. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's
thank
on
you for watching.
the internet.
And let us know what you think. Subliminally, please.
Go glorp yourself.
Thank you. Glorp.
Glorp, everybody.
And I love the Illuminati. We haven't said that in a long time.
Very good.